Hey guys, and thank you for joining me for another quiet ramble and chat about video games. I thought, in light of the E3 event a couple of weeks ago, it might be kind of fun to talk about my favourite games that were talked about at E3. Like my most anticipated games that were showcased at E3, as there ended up being a fair few things that I'm looking forward to. The first couple of days I was like, it's not a whole lot's been shown off so far. But then Nintendo kind of showed off a lot of things that I'm keen for. And I ended up going through some records of everything that was announced, and there was a couple of hidden gems in there. Well, not so hidden, but lesser talked about, I thought. So I made up a little list of ones that I'm very much looking forward to, and then a second list of ones that I'm kind of interested in. I will follow their development, but they might not necessarily be a day one purchase. So to kick things off, of course, Nintendo showed off a trailer for the sequel to Breath of the Wild 2. Well, Breath of the Wild. This upcoming game will be Breath of the Wild 2. I thought it looked super creepy. Very interested to know what the dehydrated mummy figure is, if it is indeed canon. Of course, I only announced that they were, now working on it. It is now in development. So it could still be a couple of years before we even have a release date or anything for it. But that's okay, because I do have plenty of other things to play through until that one comes out. There's a couple of things that I hope they kind of look at, potentially fix in the sequel to Breath of the Wild. And that is primarily rain. Rain is very oppressive in Breath of the Wild. And I hope that they either make a way to ignore its effects while trying to climb, or to dispel the rain, like the Sun song in Ocarina of Time. I feel that weapon degradability and shield degradability should be reduced a little bit. That is to say, buff their durability, because I was kind of stressed the whole game that my weapons were going to break, which means I did end up not using a lot of better weapons, because I was like, no, I might need this somewhere down the line. And of course, never ended up using it for fear of losing it. So if they boosted that just a little bit, like, I'm not saying get rid of it altogether, but just enough to not make me stress about it the entire game, that'd be good. And I would really like to see a return to Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask style dungeons, because the shrines were cute, and the Divine Beasts were kind of just collections of similarly themed shrines. But I do miss that sort of big, dungeon exploring all the rooms with a mini boss and then a big boss, and getting new dungeon items and stuff like that. I really always enjoyed that formula. So I would like to see a return to that, but I don't think it's practical considering the world they built for Breath of the Wild, because it'd be like, well, where are these dungeons in the first one, So that'd be good to see, but I doubt it'll happen. Next up is Jedi Fallen Order. I love a lot of the older Jedi Star Wars games. My favourites are Dark Forces 2, Jedi Knight, Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast, and Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy. I can't remember the exact titles. But yeah, the Jedi games were very fun. Especially Jedi Academy, which let you customize your lightsabers and your fighting style a lot more. Jedi Fallen Order looks like it's... I watched only a little bit of the gameplay because it looked a little bit boring. But I've heard it's supposed to be kind of like Dark Souls-ish combat. I don't know. What they showed off wasn't super appealing. I get that it's hopefully early days, and that they weren't showing the best of the best, because otherwise then there'd be nothing to look forward to. I did like the Force Unleashed games, but I felt they were a bit more like linear hack and slash, whereas the sort of Outcast games were, or the Jedi Knight games, were a bit more about exploring and investigating a level, but Force Unleashed was kind of just like follow this path. So I hope it's a bit more like the older Jedi games, but it's probably going to be more like Force Unleashed. But that should be good. I don't think I'll get that as soon as it comes out, but I'm happy to wait for it since it's not like a multiplayer game. I'll wait for a sale, and it'll be good to enjoy some next gen Jedi single player content. Of course, Nintendo showed off their newest Animal Crossing game, New Horizons, for the Switch. I really loved Wild World on the Nintendo DS. I still have very fond memories of sitting in my lounge room in front of the air conditioner on a hot summer's day, walking along the beach as the sky turned pink in my little town, picking up sand dollars and little bits of coral just to go sell it for a few measly bells. I really love that game. New Leaf didn't grasp me quite as much. I'm not sure if it's because they made you the mayor and it kind of like it added to the game. You had more things to do technically, but I don't really want to look after the town that much. Like I'll weed it and stuff, but for the most part I just want to do my own thing, like run around catching bugs. And I know you could do that, but I don't know, it just felt different. I don't know if I outgrew it or maybe I just wasn't that into that one. But New Horizons looks pretty cool. I like the crafting system, and laying down your own paths looks pretty cool. And now that I have more friends that have Switches, since a lot of them didn't have Nintendo DS's when I was growing up, it could be fun to play in each other's towns, like multiplayer. Though I'm not sure if that'll get boring quickly, since all I can really do is walk around and clean up the town and talk to people. Maybe collect bugs and stuff, where it doesn't feel like Stardew Valley where you can all be doing your own thing, like go fight in the mines or go work on the farm or go flirt with someone. So again, I might not get it straight away, but I'll keep an eye on it. Also coming to the Switch exclusively, as far as I know, is Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. The Ultimate Alliance games are arcadey beat-em-ups where you assemble a team of 4 Marvel characters and you just fight your way through levels of bad guys basically, and you can use like team-up super moves and things like that, like things you'd expect to see in Marvel movies. This one is called the Black Order, I think, and it's about fighting Thanos. And from what I've seen, it looks like Venom's a playable character, and Venom being a playable character is basically the number one way to ensure I buy a game. But no, I'm looking forward to that. I played the second one on Xbox for a bit, and it was pretty cool. I will definitely be picking this one up as soon as I can find it for a reasonable price. I'm hoping it comes out physically. I would like a physical copy of it, just for like the box art and that kind of thing. That'd be nice. So yeah, that looks pretty cool. It says it's exclusively on Switch. I don't know if it's a timed exclusive. That'd be pretty rough if it was, but not my problem. Bethesda also showed off Doom Eternal. I think it's Bethesda. Anyway, Doom Eternal got shown off. There was a couple of trailers for that. I love the Doom games. Doom 2016 was a blast. It's really good fun to play. I always kind of liked Doom 3 a bit more, when they focus more on story and atmosphere and horror. I really dig that game. That game still scares me. I think that's one of the scariest games that I've played. And I'm not one who scares easily. I get that they wanted to go back to classic Doom 1 and 2 atmosphere of just mowing down armies of the undead and demons for Doom 2016. And I do like the classic Dooms. I've got nothing against them. But yeah, I wasn't that into the story for Doom 2016, and it was just a flashier Doom 1 and 2, which I guess is exactly what they're going for, so bravo. Doom Eternal kind of just looks like more of the same. The story looks a bit more interesting this time because Heaven is getting involved, and it seems like they're not taking kindly to Doomslayer preventing the apocalypse. So that seems a bit more interesting than the story from Doom 2016. I'm gonna wait for that one to go on sale as well, because my experience is going to be the same whether or not I buy it release day for $80 or wait 6 months and it's $20 on sale. So we're going to wait for a sale on that one. Next, there was a game from the developers of Layers of Fear called Blair Witch, based on the movie Blair Witch. And it looks a lot like Outlast, because the very brief trailer that they showed off has you lost in the woods with a camcorder, which I'm kind of getting sick of the whole camcorder shtick that horror games have these days, but I don't know, I won't need to play that day one, but I will get that at some point. I do like those kind of games, and I can see it going on sale on Steam for $5 at some point, much like Outlast does pretty often, so yeah, it's interesting. Blair Witch is such an old franchise, and they're only now just making a game out of it after all these years. It's an interesting choice, and I do hope it pays off for them, because they do have good work that they've done in Layers of Fear, and I hear the second one's good, but I haven't really played it yet. So yeah, Blair Witch. Didn't hear much about it. I didn't even know about it until I actually had to look up a list of everything that got announced, so classic game journalism websites there. The Avengers Square Enix game got a little trailer. I think it's called A-Day, or that might have just been the name of the video that I watched. The gameplay itself looked kind of fun, flying around as Iron Man, blasting stuff. I wonder if it'll be like GTA 5, where you can be in combat fighting stuff and then seamlessly kind of switch to another character. I feel like that would work really well for an Avengers game like this. And Square Enix obviously make really good games, but the models for the characters were very, very ugly, and some of the voice actors, I don't know if it's because I'm too tied to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but it felt like some of the voice actors didn't really suit their characters. And I think his name is Nolan North, that is the voice of Iron Man, and he was the voice of the Ghost in Destiny. And it kind of seems like they just used the exact same filter for his voice for Iron Man that they used in Destiny, and it sounds a little bit off. I'm sure by the time it's all polished up and released, it'll be fine. And of course, graphics aren't everything. As long as the gameplay is good, I'll probably pick that one up. I doubt it'll be day one either for that one, but I'm going to try and stay away from story spoilers for that one because it does look pretty interesting. As long as it's fun, like the Spider-Man game was, that'd be good. Nintendo also announced some Smash Ultimate DLC, which I haven't played Smash Ultimate in a little while. I'm getting some Nintendo Online soon, so I might venture online and see how I go there. Get my butt handed to me. But I haven't got Joker because I'm not really that interested. They announced Hero from Dragon Quest, which is fine. I just feel like there's a lot of generic sword fighters, like the 5 characters from Fire Emblem, and the 3 Links, and the Xenoblade Chronicles. There's just so many sword fighters, and me sword fighter, in Smash, so I don't really know what hero can bring to the table. But more content is always good, so not looking at that in the mouth. But I am super hyped for Banjo-Kazooie, and depending on the last 2 characters that they announced for DLC, if I don't like the last 2, then I'll just get Banjo-Kazooie. He looks really fun. I love Banjo-Kazooie, and I haven't bought an amiibo in years, but if they make a Banjo-Kazooie one, I'm absolutely getting the Banjo-Kazooie Smash amiibo. So that looks cool. Speaking of Dragon Quest, Nintendo announced that Dragon Quest XI will be getting a Switch edition with a little bit of bonus content added to it. I really do want a pretty simple RPG game for the Nintendo Switch, and they also announced a Ni no Kuni remaster, which is kind of like a Studio Ghibli RPG game. And when I heard that, it was like, oh, do I want Ni no Kuni or do I want Dragon Quest? But I think I'll get Ni no Kuni on PS4 because I have the second one on PS4. Of course, I did just recently get the first one on PS3. Took me a while to track it down, and as soon as I did, they're like, hey, remaking it for PS4. So, typical. But yeah, I'll get that on PS4, and then I'll probably get Dragon Quest XI on Switch. It looks really, really good, and I've been meaning to play a modern day Dragon Quest for ages. Like since I had 8 on the PS2 and I never finished it. And yeah, I'd really like to get 11 on the Switch. So I think I'll be getting that sooner rather than later. I'll have some games to trade towards it probably. And I'd like kind of a meaty turn-based classic RPG like Dragon Quest for the Switch. Nintendo also showed off Link's Awakening, which looks amazing. I really like the sort of toy graphical style that they're going for. It's to me it's pretty similar to A Link Between Worlds. I think it was that one. Looks very similar to that. And of course that's another game that I just got the original copy of on Game Boy Color, and they're like, hey, here's a remaster. So thanks Nintendo. A little bit sooner on these announcements would save me a lot of money. But no, it does look good, and I'm probably going to look into getting the Steelbook Collector's Edition. I like getting steelbooks wherever I can because they usually look very nice. And having like a limited, or not limited edition, but a special edition Zelda game is always fun in my books because I love the Zelda games. We also saw a lot from Pokemon Sword and Shield with their new gimmick, Dynamaxing. Seems like they're trying to put a lot more Pokemon Go kind of features in the mainstream games, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. The biggest thing I'm looking for in Sword and Shield is stable frame rates in battles, including double battles, including, double battles with megas and terrain types and weather. If they nail that, then I'm fine with everything else. Except if it's as cutscene heavy as Sun and Moon, then I am not fine with it. I think I'm actually going to be waiting for reviews and maybe a couple of Let's Plays to see if it's as cutscene heavy as Sun and Moon were. Because I just, I really didn't like that much. And of course, they have announced that not all Pokemon will be in Sword and Shield, which I'm kind of fine with. It's disappointing, but they could always update it maybe. DLC in the worst case scenario. But yeah, I'll probably end up getting it eventually. It's just the biggest thing holding it back is the cutscenes every 10 seconds. Because if so, I might give this one a skip too. One game that I never thought I'd say that I'm looking forward to again is Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I'm not a huge Call of Duty fanboy. I used to get them when they came out all the time, and then I kind of stopped after Black Ops 2, and then I got one every now and then. I got World War II, which was good. Advanced Warfare, which I didn't really like. Black Ops 3 and 4, which, But Modern Warfare 1 and 2 are my favourite games, and that includes single player. I was actually strangely attached to the story in Modern Warfare 1 and 2, like Roach and Soap and Ghost and McTavish and all the squad. So when they announced the remake for Modern Warfare, I was like, this is a game that I might actually get. I'm probably never going to play it online, but the story in these games is actually very interesting. And something that I think would be mind-blowing is if they go, yeah, so we remastered Call of Duty Modern Warfare, but it's actually the story of 1 and 2 mixed together, or all together, retold. I'm like, oh my god, instant buy. Yeah, that'd be cool. I doubt it'd happen because it's a lot of game, but a boy can dream. And there's also a Destroy All Humans remaster in the works for PlayStation 4. I thoroughly enjoyed Destroy All Humans back in the day. It's a game where you sort of go around a level completing objectives as a little alien. You've got all these alien powers and weapons. It tries to be very humorous. I don't know if I particularly find it funny, but it is fun, and that's what's most important. The second one was an absolute blast, and I think you can still get that on the PlayStation 4 store, and that whole game is co-op with just absurd weapons and powers and enemies like ninjas. There's ninjas to fight, man. It's really cool. I actually haven't watched much of the gameplay trailer that they showed off. The very few short seconds I saw of it seemed like it was a little bit. It looked like it was kind of running on a Battlefield engine or something. There's a lot of bloom and stuff, but I didn't get a good look at it, so it's probably not going to be like that. But that should be good. Again, that might be one that I get sooner than later, but I still don't think I'd pay day one price for it. But I probably wouldn't pay day one price for anything much anymore. But we'll have to see. So those are all the ones that I'm looking forward to most. And then the ones that I'm definitely going to keep an eye on, and will probably end up, I'm not necessarily excited for these ones, but I might end up getting them at some point. There's a handful of these. So there's Vader Immortal, which is an episodic VR game where it seems like Vader is training you for some secret mission. And I've been waiting for like a decent Star Wars game on VR to sink my teeth into, because the two official ones that I know about aren't that interesting. There was a knockoff one that I got for like $6, which I put hours into because it was honestly way more fun, even though it was just straight up lightsaber combat versus like a bot and a training drone. And there was like barely any game to it, but I honestly found those way more fun. So hopefully Vader Immortal can bring something interesting to the table. Dying Light 2, I think, was shown off. At least I read that it was. I didn't really see anything. Dying Light is a fantastic co-op zombie game. I think it's what Dead Island wanted to be. It mixes in parkour and a really interesting upgrade tree. I find a lot of RPG upgrade trees can get pretty boring, but I loved all of the skills in Dying Light. And yeah, it's obviously set in like a zombie apocalyptic world where you can like jump over zombie heads and kick them and break their legs to stop them attacking you. And there's like runner ones, and you have to like stay inside at night because there's big mutated ones. And it really is a blast in co-op. So I'm going to wait for like a Game of the Year edition or a sale for Dying Light 2, but I probably will end up getting it. They announced a port for Elder Scrolls Blades for the Switch, and I really would like some sort of Elder Scrolls game on my Switch, but I don't necessarily want to get Skyrim on it. I think that's a bit too big of a game, but Blades could be the sort of, taste of Elder Scrolls that I'm after without having to commit to like a Skyrim level game. So I might look into that a bit once it's up on the Switch store page. There was a game announced that is From Software's next game, who make Dark Souls and Bloodborne, all the games that I love and I haven't finished. They're actually working with George R.R. Martin on a game because apparently he has just nothing better to do. Can't really think of anything that he should be working on. But anyway, it's called Elden Ring. I'm not really sure of the story at this point, but the reveal trailer was very fascinating, and From Software have a very good track record, and for the most part George R.R. Martin has a very good track record, so it'll be definitely very interesting to see how that turns out. I'll probably end up getting it at some point, but I haven't even got Secure yet, so that's probably a ways off, but it should be cool. Hollow Knight Silksong is the sequel to the Metroidvania game Hollow Knight from a couple of years back. That is a fantastic game. There is so much content, so many secrets, so many collectibles and powers and individual like character builds that you can end up with. I kind of slept on it for a while. I had it on PC for ages, and then it went on sale on Switch, so I got it on Switch, and man, I put like 80 hours into that game or something like that. I 104 or 107%ed it, and that's not even the highest like percentage complete you can get. It goes up to like 112, I think. The last few were just boss rushes, but I wasn't really interested in it, so I skipped it. But Silksong's a sequel about a different character. I'll probably end up with that at some point, and this time I'm just going to get it straight on Switch, because they're a lot more fun on Switch, I found. Like, I'm probably not going to load up a Metroidvania on a computer at any time, but it's perfect for sort of sitting in bed and just grinding out some levels or some upgrades or exploring some areas that I got stuck in. There's a new Dragon Ball Z game called Dragon Ball Kakarot, named after Goku. I really do like most Dragon Ball games. Fighters wasn't my favourite because I'm not super into that 3v3 competitive fighting games. I much preferred sort of the more arcadey, like Raging Blast and Budokai Tenkaichi games. And there's only so many times I can play through the Saiyan Saga before I get sick of it. Frieza wasn't my favourite enemy, so I don't know. If the fighting is more like Raging Blast and they add more story to it and not just the Saiyan Saga, I might think about picking it up, but for me it's one just to keep an eye on and probably one to give a miss at this stage. There was also an announcement for a LEGO Star Wars collection called the Skywalker Saga, which is going to be all 9 main movies made into the game, which would be interesting because I don't think that they did a LEGO Last Jedi, so that'll be interesting. I do have the LEGO Star Wars Complete Collection on PS3, but that was obviously a fair while ago that came out. If it goes on sale and I can find it for a decent price, I'll probably pick up the Skywalker Saga because I do like the LEGO Star Wars games. And being able to earn trophies by collecting everything in them will be very fun. So, yeah, I hope that's good. Nintendo also announced Luigi's Mansion 3 for the Nintendo Switch and showed off Gooigi, everybody's favourite. I never played Luigi's Mansion 1 because I didn't have a GameCube, and I didn't play 2 on the 3DS because it was always super expensive, and then by the time it came down to a reasonable price, I didn't really have much interest in playing it on the 3DS. But 3 I'm kind of interested in. I'd definitely rather play it on the Switch than the DS. But I tell you what would be a definite buy from me would be if they remade Luigi's Mansion 1 for the Switch. I'd probably get that day one, just because I've never really played it before, but I understand that it's like a really cool game, really good game. It'd be nice to experience in nice HD graphics on my Switch. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's announced somewhere down the line, but for now, Luigi's Mansion 3, I'll just keep my eye on them, see how the reviews are. And the last game that I feel kind of got slept on a little bit is Chivalry II, which is a sequel to Chivalry Medieval Warfare, which is a medieval warfare combat game from like years ago that I used to play with my friends when I was in high school. And it's really good fun. You have like different classes. You have like broadswords or daggers or like bows and arrows or crossbows, I think. Javelins, like pikes, really good. And it's a blast to play. Like the combat's very fun. It's not just hack and slash. There's actual like blocking and, you know, picking when to jab and when to swing and when to like overhead strike. It's good fun. And apparently there's going to be like horse like cavalry in the second one, which I think is because that game Mordo is doing really well. So Chivalry's like, hey, we gotta get back in on this action. There's an audience for it again. But I don't know. That's one that I'm probably not going to pick up because I don't really play many online games like that anymore. But I think that's an interesting one because the first one I had a blast with, so maybe if it goes on sale I'll check it out. But yeah, that was basically everything that I was interested in that I saw at E3 this year. It's going to be a very expensive couple of months, or I suppose they're coming out over the next couple of years, but yeah. So yeah, that was my picks from E3. Let me know what your picks were, what games you're looking forward to that were talked about at E3, which ones you're going to get on day one, and why. Because honestly, hearing about other people's favourite games and what games they're looking forward to, honestly sometimes makes me get interested in those games and buy them. But I just love discussing games with people and what people are looking forward to and what people are excited about and happy about, because that's honestly one of the purest forms of happiness is people getting excited for like things they love. So yeah. But I'd like to thank you for joining me for this soft-spoken video game ramble, and I hope to see you in the next video.